Today we'll learn about XML, and if you guys have seen any examples of XML before, it looks very similar to that of HTML. That's because they're derived from like the same. They're like in a tree. If you make a tree, they're derived from the same. Basically, HTML. It's a kind of a parent derivative. So we'll see today. We have all these things that like this is the outline of all the presentation that we'll take today. We have introduction. We have comparison between XML and HTML because they are both derived from the same parent. We have the advantages, and we'll have application examples as well. And we'll see the syntax, how the basic HTML document is formed. We'll see queries and mediators, and after that, Saloni will take over from there. So you can go to the next slide. Sal, next slide.
Is it not visible? I changed it.
Okay, yeah, now it's visible. Yeah. Okay, so XML, the basic full form is Extensible Markup Language, and it's basically a document. It's a language just to see, like, just to have all the contents of a document in it. And there are 4 other specifications which are similar to XML. That is XSL, XUA, XLL. The full forms you can see on the screen. Apart from XML, as far as I know, the most commonly used language is extensible style language. So that also some of the labs have that in XML, so we can use that interchangeably. Here we can see an example where we have taken a product details as an example. So we'll see that it's very similar to HTML syntax. We'll see how the attributes are formed and how the details of all the products are mentioned in the XML file. And also you see how easy it will be to use when we are integrating that with Python in order to handle the data. So as I mentioned before, HTML and XML are derived from the same standard generalized markup language, which is HTML. And basically, HTML, like HTML, XML is also like it's like a system to exchange data on the web. And it's also very flexible, as we'll see later in the advantages. So if you can go to the next slide. Yeah, so here we compare HTML and XML. XML is basically just an extensible set of tags, and HTML here is fixed set. So as we saw before, we can include as many attributes as we want in XML, but HTML, it's a fixed set of tags. XML is more content oriented, and HTML is more presentation oriented. So XML focuses on what the content of the document is, but HTML focuses on how it is presented. XML has a very structured data infrastructure. Oh wait, it went to the next slide. Yeah, and HTML, there's no need to have any set of data validation capabilities or such. And XML allows multiple output forms, and HTML is a single presentation only. Next slide. Yeah, so now we'll see the advantages of XML, sorry. So XML is Unicode based. So it will, no matter how much data you store, comparatively, it will store less. Comparatively, it will take less space to store the same amount of data that compared to other Unicode based applications. One XML document can be displayed in different media. So as I said, it's very flexible. The same XML document that you made can be displayed in a CD form, DVD form, HTML form. And XML documents can be modularized, so it is very easy to transfer one project from another, or like from one device to another. Or if you want to store some data that you need to use in the future, you can store it in XML form. And again, it's very widely used and supported. So it'll be if you start using XML, then it's very easy to transfer data from one organization to other, or like one person to another. Again, it's expressive, flexible, and customizable according to what your needs are and what the document needs. Okay, here we'll see applications. So first application is content management, where we have a database with XML documents, and we can convert it into different forms like PDF, HTML, and WML to use it in different devices. Second is data exchange, where we have legacy systems like SAP and stuff, and Getting data from SAP and all is pretty difficult. What we do is we attach a XML adapter to it and transfer the XML files. And then the other legacy system, again, there's another XML adapter that converts it back to the legacy system supported data. Uh, in third application, we see the metadata. Metadata is basically information about whatever your document is. So in this case, you see it's a paper that's written. So the title, creator, description, publisher, subject, all these things can be displayed in an XML form much easily. And document markup also, if you want to have, if you're writing a book or if you're writing a paper, it's very easy to have index entry and cross references between papers, literature citations and stuff. It's much easier to do it in XML because of the markup format. Okay, so here we see what the elements of a XML document are. So it's basically in similar to HTML, where we have a start tag and an end tag, and we have the data in between. And it's case sensitive as well. So if you write, if you can see the example, if you write city in 3 different ways, it's considered as 3 different attributes. And we can also abbreviate the empty elements, such as if you see that last example where we have married and there's no data in between, we can just abbreviate into one single tag. Okay, so now we can also have a name value pair separated by an equal sign. So if you want to attach any other additional information to that attribute that you described, so in this case, if you want to add zip code or an address to the city that you're mentioning, you can just write zip is equal to 94608 and then comma address is equal to wherever the city is, etc. Okay, so here we see a basic XML document, and here we can see that as there are 2 different attributes, first one is books and second one is book, we can nest those elements. So in books, we can have multiple book elements because book obviously belongs to books. And we can see that the book has inbuilt description about the ISBN information, and it has 2 other attributes such as title and author. Okay, so here we can see basically a tree structure about how the XML data model is structured. First, we define books, and from books, we have different book and article references. So when we add a book, it just basically creates another subtree from the book's root. And we have a description about the book ID and look inside the book attribute. And then we have separate attributes for the author, title, year. And similarly for articles, we have defined tags such as author and title as well. So all these are derivative of the book's root. So whenever we define a new structure, it will just add one more tree to the books, or wherever we add different article. Even if you add different attribute to the article, it will branch from the article root. Okay, so now we'll see some guidelines. It's very similar to HTML. So if people have people have done web development or front-end development, they'll know all these guidelines before itself. So all elements must have an end tag. All elements should be cleanly nested as well. And attributes should be closed in a quotation mark. And also each document must have a unique first element, which is the root node.
Okay, so I'll continue from here. Can you see the slides?
Yeah.
Okay. So as he said, markup language is a set of codes or tags that describe the text in a digital document. So that's what XML basically does. And we already covered the applications, but these are areas where XML is used to store medical data, mathematical data, scientific measurements, news information, etc., etc. So this is another example of an XML document where we have nested structures. So company has many departments. So there are 2 departments mentioned. The starting and closing tags are given the same color, so it's easy to notice. Now this XML document can be represented in a tree-like structure where company is a node. So as he said, document can have only one node, and it branches off to cover all the sub-elements. And regarding the syntax, I'll just like cover it once more. So it must have a root element. There must be an XML prologue in the document. It's not necessary, but it is it is advised to put this in the beginning of your XML document. It just specifies the XML version and what kind of encoding it is. So maybe if you have some other characters, it shows some rubbish values. So this encoding is useful. Now, they are case sensitive. All elements must be properly nested. Attribute values must be always quoted. And it does not truncate multiple white spaces. So this happens in HTML, where additional spaces are converted into one single white space, but XML does not have this. Now, as you might have seen, that XML documents have a starting tag and an ending tag as a less than and greater than symbol. So what do you do if you want to place a less than or greater than symbol in between? Like suppose John greater than Doe. So in this case, it'll identify as an error. So what you do is you use these codes for less than, greater than, equal to, or apostrophe. You use ampersand, less than with a semicolon in order to represent less than. So these codes will be helpful for that. Now, how do you comment in the XML document is like this. It's the same as HTML, where you place your comment here and start it with these less than symbol, exclamation mark and two dashes, and end it like this. Now, XML element is everything from the element start tag to the element's end tag. So this price tag is defined as everything that starts from this tag to this tag. So 29.99 is the price's value, but the element is considered to be the whole element. Now, an element with no content is said to be empty. What happens if you don't want to place anything in between the elements? Then you can simply have a self-closing tag for the same element, as in you don't need to place it twice. You just can put a slash before the ending symbol. Now, some rules are case sensitive again, start with a letter or an underscore, cannot start with letters XML, and element names must contain letters, digits, hyphen, underscore, and periods. Also cannot contain spaces, so it should be one single word. So there are several cases which come across when we code. So there is lowercase, uppercase, Pascal case, camel case, and this is just advised as a good coding practice to name your XML elements in one of these fashions. So you can use a similarity throughout your code. Now, attributes are used to describe your elements. So this is already covered, so I'll just refresh that they're designed to contain data related to a specific element. So for example, if your tag is a person, you can have an attribute as gender and describe it as female. Though it is advised to place elements inside the element instead of having attributes, but sometimes you don't want to make them very prominent. So you just place attributes. Now, for example, in the left side, you can see there are multiple elements which have the same name. For example, this is a table which is described, and there are, see, you can see TD and TD again. And here you can see table, here again you can see another table. So what happens if you want to like differentiate between these and when you're retrieving data? So you can place some prefix before it. So H dash can be placed over the first table and F colon can be placed over the next. So this will be just used to identify different kinds of variables, even though their names are same.